On this episode of Lapeef Let's Talk,
Understand why they saying what they saying. I know more than enough to be able to know whether or not this dude is lying to me. I know whether or not he's stealing. I know when to go over it and when to suggest things. Sometimes I suggest things to my accountant that he didn't even realize, or I bring information that I gained from somebody else and having a conversation and be able to have that with him. It's still my responsibility to control and understand every single thing that goes on with my finances because it's my finances. They're nothing more than a help me. They're not the person that I'm supposed to give the responsibility over to. As a man, it's still my responsibility.
Hey, and I just want to add this context to it because I think people miss out.
Yes, and they be like, my accountant stole all of my money. Well, that's because you wasn't on top of it and you ain't have control of your stuff.
I just want to add one context to it, which I got to realize this, and I'm gonna just put in simple terms, straight from ATL. Look, a thermometer advise that thermostat change.
They're the ones that empower you, right? A leader is supposed to figure out how it is that you can be successful at what it is that you're doing, right? My job is not to, and that's why when the blame comes, it always goes back up to the leadership. Nobody blames the workers and say, hey, why wasn't the workers doing what they were supposed to do? The board go and they oust the leadership. It all starts at the top. It starts at the head. You say this regularly, Rilla. And so if it starts at the head, then that's the one that sets the tone. I'm the person that's going to determine whether we go forward, whether we go backwards, right? I'm the person that's going to determine whether or not we're going to need your resources in order to pay bills in this household, or I'm going to be able to set you in a place where you can be in your true feminine energy, according to what the guy says, and then you can thrive and figure out how it is that you can add value to to what it is that we're doing. I'm the person that sets the rules. I'm the person that determines whether we're going to be hot or cold. It's always going to start at the top. And if the man is the head of the household, then it starts with him. We can finesse it and we can call it partnerships and, and all of this other type of stuff and look at love stories and all of that. But at the end of the day, I think it always starts at the head.
Sure, say amen. Y'all disagree? Kayla, you on mute. Oh, go ahead.
I was just reading. I was reading some stuff about this thermometer thing.
Okay, go ahead, Courtney.
I think that women have a role, and I think men have a role. I think it's my role as a woman to be the thermostat for the home, meaning I create the atmosphere. A woman makes a house a home. So I create the atmosphere for my man to come in to make sure that it's warm and it's well kept. As far as the relationship, I feel like he is the thermostat and I am the thermometer because I'm the reflection of him. So he runs the home. He's the head of the household. So we both have different roles. I am supposed to be that to make the house a home, to make sure that the house is clean and the cooking and, whatever that he wants in the house, the interior decorating. So I set the tone for that. And he sets the tone for my relationship. I'm a reflection of him going forward, whatever he wants to do. And in the home, when he comes in, it's going to be warm, smelling a little apple pie-ish or whatever. But that's my role in that. So I'm over that. And he's over the relationship. So I believe.
Final thoughts, Kay? Okay, final thoughts.
So same as my original thoughts. It depends on the couple. Different people have power, like more knowledge in different things, and that's how it should go. If one person is really good at the finances, they should take the lead on that. If one person is really good at like the homemaking and whatnot, better than the other, they should take the lead on that. If one person, I don't see how it could be any other way, but okay.
Amen. There you have it.
Hey, Logic, are you there? I don't know if you're there or not.
Yeah, there you go.
Logic, I got a question. Let's say hypothetically you married or you in a relationship or whatever, right? if your chick is, if she's a financial wizard, are you letting her control your finances? You
You're
muted, bro.
muted.
I don't necessarily think she controlling it, but she'll let me know what it is. I mean, I totally align with what Kayla said. Weirdly,
Kayla.
say that again.
Kayla or Kay?
Kayla and Kay. Actually, they
Oh,
both
okay.
different ranges. But if you look at, I think Kayla described it best, where you can't take that power from that man. So you gotta, if you are expert at that, then ideally, you know what? Hey, yeah, you say, you know what, we spending too much money on this, we spending too much money on this. And ideally, I like the thermostat analogy.
You letting her control your finances. I specifically control.
No. I didn't say no, not control, but that's what
okay.
I'm saying.
That's all I want to know.
Let me get to it. That's what I'm saying. The thing is if it's freezing cold and she want to cut up the heat, logically, how can you go against that? If it's burning up hot and she want to come to AC, logically, how can you go against that? I think the things that are come into play where stuff is in question, where it's in between. Mm-hmm. So, like I said, this is a perfect scenario that JR drew out. But I think as it go on, that man will trust that woman's judgment to gauge the temperature. And then by him trusting her and him knowing her, ideally, he will sit here and say, hey, yes, we need to change this. We need to change this temperature.
Anton, if Rita was much better than you at, like, hypothetically, all financial things, but you were terrible at it, you didn't know what to do, you were, your credit score was like whatever, would you let her, like, help you and be in control?
Would I let her help me or would I let her control?
Would you let her control?
No. Listen.
So you would let, who would control? Wait, who would control?
I would. I'm always going to be in
control. Even though you're the most financially irresponsible one.
I'll give you an example.
Wait, no, wait.
I answered the question. And
wait. So even though you're the most financially irresponsible one, and you're with a partner who is extremely responsible in these areas, hypothetically, you would still say, me, as the one who doesn't know what to do, who has made all the mistakes of the past, who has proven that I'm not capable of leading in this aspect, you would still say, you know what, I'm going to lead here and she can't. Yes or no?
I wouldn't. No, I would not be married if I'm not the leader in my finances. That's the very basic, most instrumental thing that a man is supposed to do is get his finances in order.
So if you can't answer the hypothetical.
No, but I think you missed answered it. I said no, I would not let her control it. Okay. That's my answer. And then my context is, for example, we all have, not all, a lot of people have accountants, right? We got accountants, we got tax strategists, we have people who are experts, and they are experts in a field, and they do this every single day. You know what my responsibility is? To still control what happens at the end of the day. And I need to understand why they saying what they saying. I know more than enough to be able to know whether or not this dude is lying to me. I know whether or not he's stealing. I know when to go over it and when to suggest things. Sometimes I suggest things to my accountant that he didn't even realize, or I bring information that I gained from somebody else and having a conversation and be able to have that with him. It's still my responsibility to control and understand every single thing that goes on with my finances, because it's my finances. They're nothing more than a help me. They're not the person that I'm supposed to give the responsibility over to. As a man, it's still my responsibility.
Hey, and I just want to add this context to it because I think people miss out.
Yes, and they be like, my accountant stole all of my money. Well, that's because you wasn't on top of it and you ain't have control of your stuff.
I just want to add one context to it, which I got to realize this, and I'm gonna just put in simple terms, straight from ATL. Look, a thermometer advise that thermostat change.